Well, hello, good morning. I'm making this video quite early for my household, so I'm talking very quietly. But I wanted to just point out something that you may or may not know about. There is a comet in the early morning skies at the moment. You have to get up about 4:45 in the morning. If you get up much later than that, the sky will be brightening too much. 3:30, 4 o'clock. And at the moment here in the UK, at least in the Bristol area, Saturday morning is going to be a cold, snappy, bright start after some rain that's clearing. I sound like a weatherman now. In this background picture here on my screen, this is actually a snapshot from the International Space Station. And here you can see, this is obviously the sun coming up soon. And I think the ISS was somewhere over Caspian Sea area when this was taken a couple of days ago. And here is Comet NEOWISE, looking very graceful. Reminds me of Comet Hale-Bopp from the late 1990s, if you're old enough to remember that. There's the Seven Sisters, and that is actually Venus, which is kind of like overexposed in this image. And there's a very thin layer of ionized oxygen above the surface of the Earth. How beautiful is that? So let me just show you this page then, which gives you some information. I'll link below this video this page, and what it does is it shows you some info about it, but also what I like most is it actually tells you roughly where it's going to be in the sky. So there's the Seven Sisters and Venus, just like in this space view, and then the comet, at least today, it's the 9th, it will be gradually drifting that way. So that is actually sort of around northeast, so it's moving further away from the sun, because the sun will actually be over that way somewhere. So basically you have to get up very, very early in the morning. 3:30 in the morning is recommended. So by the time you get to Saturday, it will be a tiny bit higher up in the sky. It may be slightly dimmer, it may not. I mean, who's to say? But anyway, what I've got here, if I just quickly show you, this is some software that I have on my computer called Stellarium, and this actually shows you, this is this morning, this is at 4 a.m. in the morning. You can see how bright the sky is. If I take off the atmosphere, so that would be what the sky looked like if there was no atmosphere at all. So there you can see Venus, Aldebaran in Taurus the Bull. There's the Seven Sisters. Now, interestingly, if you want to find this comet, if you know anything about constellations, if we just zoom in very slightly on Venus here, you can see there's this kind of like V shape here, which is the open star cluster in Taurus the Bull, called the Hyades. It's an open cluster, and it's kind of like got this V shape. And there's Venus and Aldebaran quite close together. But interestingly, if you look carefully where this comet is positioned, and you look at this bright star here, Capella, which is in the constellation of Auriga, then you can actually see that similarly we've got this like sort of V shape here. So if you kind of draw in your mind, find Venus, because it will be very bright, just above the northeastern horizon, and then trace up to where Capella is, and if you look at this shape here, it's kind of like a very narrow V shape, and obviously in this image here, if I just zoom in, you can see lots more stars appearing, because this is a big database I've got on my computer, and zooming in, eventually we get to the point where we can see this little tiny comet. Now obviously it will have a tail on it, which is really, really exciting. So this is just a kind of a computer guess. It's not actually anything like what the real comet looks like. But there it is in the sky, in the early morning sky. But it's really worth having a look out for, because apparently it is going to be bright enough to see with the naked eye. It already is bright enough to see with the naked eye. In fact, I'll link below. There's a super guy who lives in South Wales who does astronomy, and he recently took some photographs of it from a train station in South Wales, overlooking an estuary, I think it was, and it was very bright lights all around, and you could see it with the naked eye early in the morning. And this is just like, I think, yesterday or the day before, which is where I heard about this comet. So in summary, I highly recommend that you make the effort to see this comet. It's not going to be necessarily bright for that long, because it's moving away from the sun now, and it is quite low down on the horizon, but it is going to be something that's worth looking out for. You can see here, look, that's the sun rising in the off kind of camera, as it were, in this video that was taken, this time-lapse video that was taken from the International Space Station. But the comet is definitely bright already, because look, there's a Seven Sisters, which you can see very easily. There's the comet, so it is definitely worth looking out for. So low down in the northeastern sky on Saturday morning, do have a look out for it, because it's going to be, I reckon, probably something it's worth your time having a look at. But make sure you do that before the sun comes up, because it will brighten everything out. Okay, I hope that's useful to you. I don't do many astronomy videos, but I thought this one was worth having a look at, because this comet looks like it's going to be a really fun one to see with the naked eye. If you want to see some people's videos, I suggest you go onto Twitter and then just type in Comet NEOWISE. So if we just click on search here, NEOWISE, there will be various hashtags. So you can see lots of photographs and pictures. So that this background image that you saw a minute ago, I took from Sean Duran's beautiful time-lapse video he did just the other day. Really spectacular. But here already you can see some fantastic photographs appearing from people. This one here was just really beautiful, from Jeremy Perez, and this one from Kerry, who lives in Canada. Look, I think that's Toronto in the background, and there's the comet there. So that is a really, really beautiful shot. So yeah, do check it out. It's worth getting up early on Saturday morning if you're in the UK. If you're elsewhere in the world, you may get to see it today. But the weather in the UK at the moment isn't that great. But Saturday morning is looking promising. Okay, speak to you soon.